Great artists do not borrow, they steal. Today I'm going to be explaining that sentence and how you can be using it in all of your beats, especially if you're a producer, because rap was based off of stealing. We literally took bits and pieces of what we had and we turned it into something brand new with our own twist, our own spin on it, and made a whole new genre of music. So I want you to be stealing. I just want you to be doing it in the right way. So today I'm going to be showing you how to ethically steal all the sauce so you can put that in your next hit record. Now if you're saying to yourself, I'm a creative, I'm the best producer ever, I don't steal, blah blah blah, I come up with crazy ideas every day, that's great. The main concept here isn't to actually steal, it's to use inspiration and references from other individuals' music. They do this a lot in fashion. Right now I'm stuck in self-isolation, but I shot some great footage in Toronto several months ago that I'm gonna input here so you can know exactly what I'm talking about.
They do this a lot in fashion. One of the things that they do is silhouettes. So you can take a Bape shoe, for instance, and you can see that it looks exactly like a Nike Air Force One. Okay. And look at this. First page. Look at that. Great artists don't borrow, they steal.
And today we're gonna start with one of the most underused sites of all time. This is literally the silhouette of music, and I actually debated for a while if I should show you guys this one because it's the ultimate sauce, but I decided to do it anyway because I would not be your best friend if I didn't show you this. So let's hop into the computer and let's learn how to steal.
All right, so first place that you wanna go is MIDI World. So MIDI World has a ton of very scandalous pictures at the bottom. MIDI World has a bunch of classical songs, pop songs, rock songs. I don't even know what to go for today. All right, we're going Spice Girls. Jesus Christ, what is up with these ads on the bottom? Okay, you have to be over 18 to go to this website, it seems like. Spice up your life. So I'm going to download this and probably get a virus. Test this out for you guys first. See what happens. So we're not going to do that. We are going to import from our downloads this Spice Up Your Life. And we want to import all the tracks. We'll start a new file. So now if we take a listen. Alright, so we're back in MIDI World in the rock section. I decided to just download this I Am Rock song. I've never heard it before by Simon and Garfunkel. I downloaded that. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to import all of the sounds. So I'm just going to go through this process again. So you go MIDI. We'll save no to this. I'm a Rock. We'll open this. Luckily for us, this is all labeled. What we want to do is hit accept. So now if you were to take a listen to this. Cool, so that's our MIDI song. The next thing we want to do is we want to come in and anything that we want to use, for instance, like this bass line, Cthulhu won't pick it up if it's any of these other colors. It has to be green. So Control A, Alt C, that's going to make it green. So you want to do that for all of the different melodies and stuff that you want, and then you just want to put them all on one channel. So what I've done is I put them all on one channel, which sounds like this. As you can see, they're all green. Control A to copy it, and then come over here, Control V to paste it. Then in Cthulhu, this is really important, you want to go initiate. Next thing you want to do is tell it where to start. So I want Cthulhu to start recording. Basically what Cthulhu is doing is every one of these notes is going to become a chord. I want it to start at C0. So I just click C0 and that just told it where to start. The next thing you want to do is, and this is really important, if you want it to record, you hit learn, but you have to hit Alt and then click it, or else this is not going to work. So now if we hit record, See how it's dedicating right now chords to these notes. And if you want to speed this up, you can actually just speed up the tempo. As you can see how it's filling up, this bar is slowly filling up with all these new chords. And what's really great about this, I'm going to turn on my camera for a second. What I love about Cthulhu, and now that we're in this process, we have the chords, is you're working in this world that's already been created by Aretha Franklin and those guys. And let's just say if you wanted to make a sample that sounded like it was an Aretha Franklin sample from the 70s or whatever, you now have the world to kind of work in those chords and stuff. And now us as producers, we can mix and match these chords in new progressions to have a whole new creation, but all started from the structure of an already made hit song. So I'm going to hop back into the computer and I'm going to start fooling around in Analog Lab. I'll grab some new sounds and we'll see if we can turn this into something really interesting. Now that we have it recorded, the big thing that we want to do is hit save. If you go to Documents, you go to X for Cthulhu presets, you can create your own preset folder. Actually, it's chords, sorry, which I've done a lot of those. So in Jacob's presets, I'm just going to call this rock test. I'm going to open up rock test, and now with this really crappy sound that it comes with. Those are some of the chords. What you want to do next is come over here, switch your output from the MIDI. So in the gear icons, let's say we put it to 2, then come to whatever plugin you want and just make sure the input of that plugin is the exact same. So now if we go over to Analog Lab here, and this can happen with any plugin that you want to use, Omnisphere, Octave, maybe you want to try Octave, anything that you want to use, it can work. So let me go find a sound really quickly. So next thing you want to do is you want to open up Cthulhu and honestly just start fooling around until you find something you like. Alright, so there you go. That's how you can use a chord progression that's already made in another song, quickly import it into your project, and then use it to get inspiration and kind of work within their world. So I'm going to hop back into the computer, and I'm going to show you some more ways that you can steal, ethically take some references and use them in your production. Alright, so the next thing that you can do is use another person's song, a hit song in particular. What should we use? Maybe Post Malone. A big song that you can take that and you can actually structure that. Take the structure, take the tempo, take the key, and take all that information and use that in a song that you might want to create. So let's just say if you want to do, God, what's a big one? Congratulations, this is a good song. So I'm not going to show you what to do next, but you would need to get this song. So you would go buy that song, wink wink, so that you can put it in your DAW and we can start finding out the tempo, the key, the what instruments they may be using, and we can start applying that to our next beat. So I decided not to use the Post Malone song, and what I am going to use is the new Drake song, Tootsie Slide. So as you can see, there's already some information here. For any of you that don't know about Mixed in Key, Mixed in Key is a program that you can be using to find the key and the tempo of your songs. One thing that I've noticed, and we'll get into it in a second here with a lot of Drake's music, and I think ProducerGrind actually asked this question, and the question is why God's Plan was a little bit off tempo.
We already heard you talk about how the God's Plan beat came about and everything, but I want to know why the 154.4 BPM. Was that something you did or something they did after?
That's something they did after.
Oh, okay.
It was a little slow before that.
You ever been making beats with like decimals, like 0.4 or whatever? Like
Nah, ever.
Yeah, I thought we was gonna get some sauce. I was like,
Nah, man.
And I realized in this song as well too, it's not actually 82 BPM, but I'm actually just going to show you. So if you want to take a song, you can use it, you can drop it in the Mixed in Key, and it's going to tell you the key of that song. So for instance, this is 1A, which means that we are at A flat minor, and it's 82 BPM. So what we can do is we can now take that information. Let's open up our player here. We'll drag and drop that song in, and we can start finding out where the hook comes in and all that other stuff. So we'll go to 82 BPM. I've tried this before when it first came out because I wanted to see what was actually happening in the production. And if you take this actual intro part and you reverse it, you actually realize that that's a piano, some strings all playing, but they're reversed in the beat. A little gem for you there. So at 82 BPM, I'm not going to actually play this song because it's going to get this this flagged, but what you can be doing is you can actually be coming in, and we know for a fact that this is the intro. So Alt T, I'll create the intro, I'll put it there. We know for a fact that this is the first hook. We know for a fact that the second verse comes in here, and as you can see, you know, drums are dropping out and all these type of things. So you can actually come in and you can like honestly create the whole structure of a potential, you know, your next hit record. You can be looking at where they're cutting out the drum breaks and where they're dropping the bass in and out, and you can be using that to influence your decision when it comes to producing. We also know that this is 1A, so if you wanted, again, we could go back to Cthulhu. We could open it up, and there's an OVO pack which I purchased, and we know that this was in, was it an F minor? I think it was an F minor. If we click F minor, now we can play some chords that are already in F minor. You can also go to the MIDI care package, and there's melodies and stuff in here. Boom, they're already labeled for you. So if you know, there's a song that you want to create, you know, for instance, with that Drake song, it's some pads, it's actually piano, some pads reversed. We could use those same instruments. We could play everything in F minor around the same tempo. And at the end of the day, you're going to have a song that's totally yours and it's original because you're bringing the creative elements and stuff to it to make that happen. But you're also doing something that really works within that world.
All right, so this next one comes from Hitmaka, all about how he makes his hits. So if you're not too familiar with Hitmaka and his sort of formula, I think it's emulated on P. Diddy and what he used to do when he would take, you know, hits from the 80s, make it sound so crazy. Hitmaka's doing the same sort of thing. So he might take, and you know, in this interview he talks about taking Bossy by Khalees and reflipping it and reusing it to make a new smash, you know, X amount of years later. I was recently reading an article as well too, saying that the majority of samples in the last year, I believe, that were sampled were all sampled from this decade. So, you know, the samples and the things that we're looking for aren't necessarily 20, 30, 40 years back from the 70s. They're actually songs that were pretty big in the 2000s and the 2010s. So with that being said, I thought that he said something really powerful and really informative here in this interview. So I'm going to cut to that clip and then we'll hop back.
What people have to understand with me flipping these records, they're not samples. I work with incredible people.
Musicians.
Paul Cabin is the guy that's playing all this music behind it. Like even 2 Chainz featuring Ariana Grande, Rule the World, where I flipped the A. Marie. That is not a sample.
Y'all replayed
That's all replayed music. Every one that we doing is replayed
and
music.
why are you going, and for people learning, why go that route to replay and not sample?
Because it's an interpolation, so you don't have to give publishing up on the master. If you use the original song, then you have to pay for the master as well.
So yes, as you just heard, I'm no legal expert. I'm just going off the advice that Hitmaker is giving, which he's done this a million times. And this is a great example how you can actually be going to MIDI World and all these other sites and taking MIDI and importing it into your project file, redoing it, and then sampling it so that you don't get into some of those same legal issues. So this is definitely not royalty free. This is not gonna, you know, this is not gonna allow you to just have any song in the world, but potentially it gives you a chance to get over some of those hurdles and save yourself money in the end. So if you're already sampling records that you have to clear anyway, this might be something that you might want to start doing so that you have all of that power if somebody does come along and take the record. I went big with this one. I decided to go with a classic David Bowie tune, which has already been flipped by P. Diddy, which is again kind of that formula that Hitmaker's been doing. So I'm gonna take my weak ass attempt at trying to redo this amazing song by David Bowie, which I'm sure is gonna be really familiar to a lot of you guys, and see if I can turn it into something different for 2020. So we'll see how that goes.
So now that you have the track here, let's actually just take a quick little listen. Cool. So if you wanted to be the next P. Diddy and take a classic from the 80s and flip it, we can do that right now. Anyway, so that is totally not royalty free. You have to pay something, but I guess when it comes to the publishing and stuff, because it's an interpolation, we would have an easier chance at being able to release this if for some reason someone was to hop on this track.
All right, and that is it for the day. Hopefully you found some of that information informative. Again, it's not actually about stealing, it's about taking those references, doing what they do in the fashion world, in the art world, and start applying it to the music world that you are currently a participant in. So I want you guys to win, I want you guys to win big, and I want you guys to do it the right way. So hopefully that helps you kind of achieve some of the sound and get some of the reference points that you've been trying to hit in your music ethically and in a place where you feel good about doing it. So leave some comments below, let me know if you enjoyed this one. If you have any questions, I'm happy to always come back, as long as Dylan and the whole team are cool with it. Happy to come back and answer some questions and do some more tutorials. So let us know how you're doing below.